Good morning. The second stop in her six-day Central Asian tour, President Park Geun-hye and Kazakhstan's President Nursultan Nazarbayev adopt a joint statement on expanding cooperation. A milestone announcement acknowledging historical wrongdoings by the Japanese. The Shinzo Abe government's report on its legitimacy is to be submitted for review. Street cheering was to the maximum, with Korea's brightest celebrities showing up to contribute to the Korean team spirit. And a hidden culinary hotspot tucked away from the general public, the eccentric Yeonnam-dong neighborhood. On Korea Today, Friday, June 20th, 2014.
From Arirang News, this is Korea Today.
And a good Friday morning. Thank you for joining us on Korea Today. I'm Kim Young alongside Oh Jin-ju and Kim Min-jung.
Good morning. Now, a very interesting survey was released after the 1-1 draw between Korea and Russia on Wednesday. While those in Korea said that they were rather happy about the results, those in Russia said it was okay. The match was okay. They gave a satisfactory mark.
Right. There are two explanations to this, I think. Either we had really low expectations for Team Korea, so we were happy that it was a draw at least instead of a defeat, or that we just have more positive people in this country. Right?
The Russian manager of the Russian national team said it best when he was saying that he doesn't really need to remember all the names of the Korean player. Maybe they underestimated the Korean team a little bit.
Maybe they did. And I hope that Koreans will be just as happy or even happier when Korea finishes its match against Algeria next Monday. A lot of expectations on that one, as well as Jae Lee will join us later on in the show to tell us more about what we have ahead. Ooh. All right, we will begin this morning with our top story, though. President Park Geun-hye, currently on a state visit to Kazakhstan, has agreed with her Kazakh counterpart to take their economic partnership up a notch by expanding joint projects beyond the Central Asian nation's energy sector.
The Kazakh president also gave his backing for President Park's North Korean policies. For more details on Thursday's summit between the two leaders, we have Choi Yoo-sun, who's traveling with the president, joining us via phone in Astana. Yoo-sun, good morning and fill us in.
Good morning. President Park Geun-hye and her Kazakh counterpart, Nursultan Nazarbayev, highlighted the need to change their resources-centered diplomacy to include cooperation, not just in energy, but in all industries. But they first checked up on 3 previously signed joint energy-related projects worth some $10 billion. While agreeing to speed up the construction of a coal thermal plant and petrochemical complex, along with mining projects near the Caspian Sea, Seoul finalized a deal for Astana to purchase electricity worth $18 billion from the thermal plant for 20 years. And that has opened doors for the two sides to break ground for the 1,300 megawatt plant by the year's end. While Seoul considers Kazakhstan a key investment destination in resource-rich Central Asia, Astana has made Korea a role model for its so-called 2050 strategy that aims to make it one of the world's top 30 economic powerhouses.
Yoo-sun, you said earlier that the two leaders emphasized on expanding their economic ties to cover areas other than energy. Now, tell us more in detail about what those areas might entail.
Right. Beyond their energy ventures, the two leaders agreed to sign a rail technology sharing deal that could offer Korean firms the chance to participate in Kazakh railway and transportation infrastructure construction in the future. And this goes in line with President Park's initiative to link energy and logistics infrastructure across Eurasia to transform the global economic system and to assure security on the Korean peninsula. They also discussed working together in areas of medicine and forestry. Astana, which will host an expo in 2017 with a theme of future energy, also showed great interest in working with Seoul to diversify its access to renewable energy. And to further increase people-to-people exchanges between the two sides, Seoul and Astana signed an agreement to allow a 30-day visa waiver on each other's citizens and agreed to simplify transit for temporary Korean contract workers here in Kazakhstan.
And Yoo-sun, as we mentioned earlier, President Park secured Astana's support for her North Korea policies.
Kazakhstan, which voluntarily handed over some 1,000 former Soviet nuclear warheads in the 1990s, reiterated its position of not recognizing North Korea as a nuclear weapons state. President Nazarbayev said he will continuously share story of his country's economic development with North Korea, which was made possible through foreign investments that began pouring in after it gave up its nuclear arms. He also endorsed President Park's trust-building policies with the North. This comes after the South Korean president, in a recent interview with a Kazakh media outlet, said that Pyongyang should take a lesson from the Kazakh case. And wrapping up her state visit to Kazakhstan, President Park will depart for the final leg of her Central Asia tour to Turkmenistan Friday, the first ever visit to the country by a Korean president. And this has been Choi Yu-sun reporting from Astana.
And to local news, a Seoul court on Thursday stripped the Korean Teachers and Education Workers Union, the country's second largest teachers union in the country, of its legal status, saying it should not allow sacked teachers to hold memberships. This is the latest in a 4-year feud between the KTU and the Labor Ministry after the ministry in October of last year revoked legal recognition of the union due to its failure to comply with an order to revise a regulation allowing fired teachers membership. The 60,000-strong union currently has 22 teachers whose jobs were terminated for signing statements against the former Lee Myung-bak government in 2009. Teachers in Korea are public servants and banned from openly taking political stances. Moments after the ruling, the KTU announced it would appeal the decision and push for a revision of the labor laws on education workers.
The issue of sexual enslavement of Korean women by the Japanese military before and during World War II still remains a source of conflict between Seoul and Tokyo. And making things worse, the Abe administration has ordered the review of a significant statement from the Japanese government back in the 90s that acknowledges and apologizes for its wartime sexual slavery. And concerns are mounting in Korea as the results of the review are expected to come out today. Our producer, Lee Ji-yeon, has more.
Known as the Kono Statement, it's a milestone announcement from the Japanese government acknowledging its military involvement in the operation of sexual slavery in its imperial years, but concerns that Tokyo may be attempting to challenge its legitimacy. Japan's Abe administration earlier this year appointed a panel of experts to re-examine the apology from 1993, announced by then Chief Cabinet Secretary Yohei Kono. The Kono Statement acknowledges the then Japanese military was directly or indirectly involved in the establishment and management of the comfort stations and the transfer of comfort women. But according to Japanese media, the government-commissioned study suggests the following phrase on recruitment was carefully negotiated between Seoul and Tokyo, a claim Korea's foreign ministry fully denies. Concern is the report could be more than a simple account of how the statement came about, and instead claims Seoul was deeply involved in its drafting. This would drive a further wedge between Seoul and Tokyo, already on rocky relations, and create more outrage in Korea as victims of Japan's sexual slavery still await a sincere apology. It would also render useless the Abe administration's position claiming it will uphold the spirit of the Kono Statement. The panel is likely to submit the document to the Diet on Friday before the end of Tokyo's regular parliamentary session. Lee Ji-yeon for Korea Today.
And to tell us more about the Abe administration's move to review this Kono Statement, we have Vice President of the Sejong Institute, Mr. Lee Myung-woo, joining us here in the studio today. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
In the report, we did look at some parts of the Kono Statement, but why is this considered so important when it comes to the issue of sexual slavery during wartime? And what more can you tell us about the statement?
Because that is the first and still the latest that statement issued by the Japanese government that there were comfort women houses or sex slavery houses during the wartime, and there was some coercion in recruiting them and force of some physical force in a sense, and in that aspect that they express their, let's say, apology or reflections. So that's why it is so important. And as such, I mean, it is about the comfort woman issue, and even though the issue itself was known to us that around late 70s, but the statement, because of the conflicts on the issue, was just more publicly known and more well known in the public in the around, let's say, 1990. So it was issued in 1993. That's probably about the major background. I think.
And as we just heard, the report on the review will be submitted to the Diet sometime today. But the Abe administration has said in the past that it will respect the spirit of the Kono statement. So what do you expect will be included in the report that will be submitted today?
Probably the focus on this issue between Korea and Japan is that for Korea, or for Koreans, or for Korean governments, our argument is that Japanese government's, let's say, apology is not enough in a sense, and they should do something about you should announce that public, let's say, apology and that kind of things. And for that, probably the Japanese government will respond to that. The Kono statement was kind of an official kind of position of the Japanese government. So they try to implicate that by issuing this report that there was some Korean government's involvement in making this statement. So probably that's where they are trying to get on. So that's why these days that there are many reports, I mean, the newspapers and other medias that there seems to be some Korean government's involvement in this statement, or there is some cooperation between two governments in making this. And there are some evidences that there were Japanese governments at that time. It seems to be a little bit adjusted in a sense until that Kono statement. So and, probably, yeah.
Right. And as you said, if the review does include that the claim that the Korean government was involved in the drafting of the statement, where does this put Seoul? The Seoul's foreign ministry said that it will take some aggressive actions on the matter.
So actually, even let's say the Prime Minister Abe already said, and that Cabinet Secretary Suga also said that they will not change the spirit of that Kono statement, or that renew or rewrite that Kono statement. But what they're trying to do is that they will, let's say, overview again what has been done in that Kono statements. That is, I just mentioned that they tried to show that Japanese government had done something about this issue. So for Korean government for now, so it is very important that to see they really do not try to rewrite or renew the spirit that itself. Okay, and if that is kept, then I think it will be better for us to say our, let's say, positions or arguments, and to see it is really followed in that way.
And despite the strained relations between Seoul and Tokyo after President Park and Prime Minister Abe took office, there had been high-level talks on the so-called comfort women issue. Now, would this whole review put them back at square one?
So there are two possibilities that depends on what would be the content in that review or in the report. But could be worse or could be better. But for, let's say, for now, it's already very bad situation. So I hope it will go better with this, let's say, a report, and have some leadership to renew this kind of, conflictual bilateral relations between Korea and Japan.
And it wasn't just Korea who was angry about Japan's stance on this comfort women issue. So how do you think other countries will react to the review of the Kono statement?
I think so. The, let's say, general mood of the other, let's say, countries was that Japan should apologize for this issue. So in that sense, that Japan should keep this spirit of the Kono statement. So if the report does not go that way, then they will, for certainly, that will criticize Japanese kind of a renewed position and that kind of thing. So in that way, I think we can go with those approach, to, let's say, to go about Japan, I think.
So I think more international pressure will be needed to get Seoul's stance in there.
So the problem is the extent or the degree of that, the pursuit.
All right, Mr. Yi, thank you for your insight today.
Thank you.
Happy Friday morning. It's time to run through the front pages of your newspapers. And as you heard at the top of the hour, a Seoul court ruled yesterday that the country's second largest teachers union cannot maintain its legal status anymore, rejecting its claim that the government's decision to outlaw it has violated basic labor rights for teachers in the group. Now let's take a close look at that story on 중앙일보's front page. And the headline reads, Major Teachers Union loses legal status after 15 years. And as you heard the details earlier, the ruling yesterday by the Seoul Administrative Court effectively stripped the Korean Teachers and Education Workers Union of its legal status and will now allow the government to take further action. And with the court's ruling, the group has lost the legal status it enjoyed for 15 years' time. The decision yesterday certainly drew immediate protests from the group, which called it a Park Geun-hye government-orchestrated persecution. And in light of this, liberal education chiefs are expected to take collective action to block any upcoming government orders against the KTU. And going over to a diplomatic issue on 조선일보 now, to this side story regarding Japan and Korea. Now, the header reads, Japan unexpectedly calls for cancellation of Korea's military exercise in the EC. Now, Japan's chief government spokesman Yoshihide Suga delivered the message, saying the area of the exercise includes part of Japan's territorial waters. However, as the sub-headlines say, Korea's Ministry of Foreign Affairs sternly rejected the request, saying that it doesn't even deserve a moment's consideration as the event takes place in the waters nearby the country's easternmost islets of Dokdo, which is Korean territory. Now, Korea's defense ministry said it will go ahead with Friday's ordinary naval firing drill as planned. And of course, the World Cup can't be left out of the newspapers, so we'll take a look at this front page image on 동아일보. Earning 1 point against Russia wasn't a bad outcome for Korea, but coach Hong Myung-bo is looking for more against Algeria, the second World Cup opponent for our Taeguk Warriors. Now, the title of the picture reads, Coach Hong Myung-bo looks to go beyond Algeria. And the atmosphere on the training field seemed quite positive. Here they are, but Coach Hong said that the sessions will be more serious starting today in order to improve the team's offense. And now moving to the economic front, first up on the Mail Business newspaper. Let's look at this one about Korean companies over in Iraq. The headline says, Iraq crisis threatens Korean business projects worth $24.5 billion. Now, Korean companies have been gripped in shock triggered by the crisis in Iraq, as a turmoil which may hurtle toward a civil war could put a halt on ongoing construction projects in the Middle Eastern country and cause oil prices hikes as well. Now, with the outbreak of the disorder, 40 construction projects led by Korean builders are now on the brink of suspension over there. The projects are estimated to be worth around $25 billion. In the meantime, though, the paper also said the Koreans working in Iraq cannot be assured safety at this point. The government initiated its emergency mode to minimize crisis-inflicted damage on the Korean companies and also citizens working there. And finally, let's quickly take a look at the Korea Economic Daily for this story. This one's about Korean companies over in China. Now, China has been demanding many of its foreign companies to relocate due to environmental reasons. The title says China orders Korean companies to move its factories. Now, the northeastern Chinese city of Nanjing has asked Kumho Tire of Korea to relocate its factory. And as a sub-headline notes, it was a unilateral notification by the Chinese side to prevent pollution. Now, Kumho has been left with no choice other than to move its factory by the end of the year, but is preoccupied because it hasn't been able to reach an agreement on the amount of compensation with the Nanjing city government. And that was a look at your newspaper headlines for this Friday. Hope you all have a great weekend. And now coming up are the stock numbers from Thursday.
Do expect some sporadic showers today for those of you in Seoul. You know what that means. Bring an umbrella with you.
That's right. You're going to have to actually carry an umbrella with you starting today just to play it a little bit safe.
That's
because
right.
The monsoon front is on its way up. And for more on that and the weekend weather, as well as today's weather, we'll be joined by Chun Song-cho.
Good morning to you, Song-cho.
Good morning, guys. I'm reporting live from the Yongsan Family Park. Gray and lots of clouds. That's what the skies look like right now. Not just here, but all across the country. It'll bring in some precipitation later in the afternoon with lots and lots of heavy showers, mainly around the central regions and toward the inland areas. Over in Jeju, it's going to rain as well, starting in the evening as a monsoonal front that's over the South Sea is moving upward right now, closer to Jeju. This front, however, is expected to stop right before the central regions, just affecting up to the southern regions with lots and lots of heavy showers of up to 100 millimeters. Nevertheless, these rain clouds in the rest of the peninsula will stick around until Sunday, so I think it's wise to just, move your plan your outdoor activities for another weekend. Now let's move on over to get a closer look at today's forecast. Seoul and Daejun's midday highs are 29 and Gwangju is the warmest at 30, while Gangneung remains the coolest at 21 degrees Celsius due to the strong easterly winds. Don't forget to take your umbrella on your way out this morning, and this is all for me with the weather update. Back to you, Min-jung.
Time for a look through our global headlines, for which we turn to our Eunice Kim at the News Center. Good morning to you, Eunice.
Good morning, Min-jung.
Now, President Barack Obama has announced that the U.S. will send a substantial group of military advisors to Iraq, but that they won't be on the front lines.
That's right. President Obama said that 300 military advisors to Iraq will provide support to Iraq's security forces, underlining that the Iraq crisis is a problem that would have to be solved by the Iraqis themselves. He also emphasized that American combat troops will not be fighting in Iraq again. Following a meeting with his national security team, President Obama explained the advisors would create joint operation centers in Baghdad and northern Iraq and assist in sharing intelligence and also coordinating support to fend off the ISIL militants bent on creating an Islamic caliphate in parts of Iraq and Syria. Military airstrikes are still possible, he said, if and when they are deemed necessary. Meanwhile, conflicting reports on the ground on who's in control of the country's largest oil refinery. A military commander told local media his forces have full control of it, while police in Samarra and Baghdad said militants still had control control over 60% of the Baiji refinery.
And Spain, could really use a mood lifter following its shocking ouster from the World Cup yesterday, and perhaps a new king would do the job?
Right, the timing was really uncanny. By my count, shortly after Spain's second consecutive loss at the World Cup came the stroke of midnight in Spain, and that's when Prince Felipe VI became King Felipe VI, following his father Juan Carlos's formal abdication. It marks the country's first royal transition since democracy was restored in the 1970s. The swearing-in ceremony was kept low-key in respect to Spain's ongoing economic challenges. No foreign leaders or royal families were invited. Now, in his first address to the people, the 46-year-old king promised to uphold the constitution and said he had great hopes for the future of Spain. He does face tough challenges, though, including restoring the dignity of the monarchy at a time when many Spaniards are calling for the establishment of a republic. And that wraps your look at the global headlines we're following this Friday morning.
And still ahead, hitting the streets to dance and cheer on for Team Korea. Street cheering has now become a must during the World Cup. We hit the districts of Gwanghwamun and Gangnam to see which stars showed up to show team spirit. Let's check some of the keywords trending now. Whether you like it or hate it, I'm not such a fan myself. Psy's latest single, Hangover, featuring rapper Snoop Dogg, entered the Billboard singles chart yesterday.
Right, it landed in the 26th place of Billboard Top 100, backed by strong internet streaming points. For more on this and other search words, let's go over to our Seo Mi-sorang at the Digital Room. Good morning, Mi-sorang.
Good morning, that's right. Now, this makes him the first Asian artist with 3 consecutive songs all on the chart's top 30. Before I expand on this, though, let's run through some of the other issues that are trending online. Health insurance premiums will rise beginning next year. The Science Ministry issues a warning about new smishing cases centered on the World Cup theme. Idol singers Taeyeon of Girls' Generation and Baekhyun of EXO confirmed their romantic relationship, and the World Cup match between Japan and Greece that's going on right now is also gaining a lot of attention. Now, going back to the second listing there, the Health Ministry said during an advisory board meeting on policy making yesterday that it will raise the health insurance premiums by 1.35% next year, the lowest increase in 6 years. Let's take a look. For those who are full-time employed, the monthly health insurance payments will rise by an average of 1,300 won to stand at 96,000 won or $94. Non-employees will have to pay an average of 83,000 won per month, also about $1 increase from premiums paid this year. Now, this is the smallest increase in 6 years thanks to the ongoing health insurance surplus. In fact, premium increases for the last 3 years have all remained under 2%. According to the Ministry of Health and Welfare, it has tried to minimize the public's burden by adopting the lowest premium rise that will still allow the increased coverage planned for next year, which is estimated to cost some $2 billion. Moving on to Psy, it has been a week since the singer debuted his US single titled Hangover. In the latest Billboard charts released yesterday, this song scored the top debut of the week, entering at number 26 on the Billboard Top 100. This makes Psy the first Asian singer with 3 consecutive songs in the chart's top 30 rankings, yet another addition to his growing list of achievements. Sales accounted for 10% of Hangover's chart points, while the other 90% came from streaming counts. The song was streamed around 7 million times in the United States alone, a reflection of the immense curiosity that surrounds Psy ever since the global Gangnam Style craze. To this Billboard performance, Psy tweeted a response saying that being at number 26 on the Billboard Top 100 is still very surreal and an honor. Thanks to all, and thanks to Snoop Dogg. Now, Psy's previous songs, Gangnam Style and Gentleman, have peaked at number 2 and number 5 respectively on the Billboard charts. So it remains to be seen how Hangover will perform in comparison. That's it for me. This has been Seoul Misorang with your daily news sum up.
And up ahead on this Friday's edition of Korea Today, a place where you can experience the taste of all kinds. We take you to Yeonnam-dong, full of dishes from all corners of the world that will make you salivate. From French, Italian, Spanish, all the way over to Japanese food, the hidden neighborhood has it all for you.
So the Korea-Russia match might have ended in a disappointing 1-1 draw, but Team Korea still has hope as they have 2 more matches to play in Group H.
Yeah, that's right. This is including the Korea-Algeria match, which will kick off at 4 a.m. Korea time. I believe that is on Monday morning.
That's right.
Right? And to get a preview of the upcoming match, we have S.J. Lee joining us in the studio with us with his 2 trusty bazookas.
Good morning,
Good morning, guys. Of course, we could have obviously used the win against Russia, and a lot of people are saying it was disappointing, but still 1 point, and we can go for that 3 more points against Algeria. Of course, like you said, Monday morning, 4 a.m. Korea time. Now, of course, beating Algeria will mean that Korea will have 4 points after 2 matches, giving them a better chance at advancing to the next round if they don't lose to Belgium that badly. But if they draw against Algeria, that means the last match against Belgium will be a must-win situation, and they're not an easy team to beat. Now, in the worst-case scenario, if they lose to Algeria, then they would have to beat Belgium by a large margin for a chance at advancing to the round of 16.
So, Algeria, we must beat them. But who are some of the key players we need to keep an eye on?
So the thing about Algeria is they're a completely different team compared to Russia. Now, Russia, if you were to say that they're more of a defensive team, Algeria is more of an offensive team. So let's take a look at some of these players to watch out for. Now, taking a look here, here's one guy you really need to watch out for. Sofian Feghouli, who's a midfielder for Valencia in Spain's La Liga. Quick movements and great precision on his shots. Now, of course, he scored the penalty against Belgium on Wednesday. Meanwhile, here's another guy, Islam Slimani, another player you guys need to watch out for as well. He plays for Sporting Lisbon, and a great finisher. A guy probably should be the go-to guy for Algeria in this forward position. So definitely these 2 guys, 2 attackers you need to look forward to.
And as you mentioned, Algeria is an offensive team. So what are their strengths and weaknesses, and what do we need to watch out for?
You know, just like I said, they're a completely different team compared to Russia, right? And, you know, Algeria being that more of an offensive team, there's a different strategy I think you need to look at. So let's first take a look at their strength as a team in whole. Now, overall, Algeria is now known for their defense, but they tend to defend early in the match and tend to do a good job with it. But when it comes to their offense, they use the long ball to score, which means the Korean defense needs to focus especially at the center backs. Now, another crucial thing to watch out for is the ability to score on the headers, and since Korea is very weak against the set piece, something they really need to focus on here as well. Now, meanwhile, taking a look at their weaknesses here, they're not just the best defenders, like I mentioned, especially on the wing, which means Son Heung-min and Lee Chung-yong will be crucial to Korea's success. But just like I said before, they need to be very aggressive on the offense all throughout the 90 minutes, but at the same time, because Algeria's offense is so good, make sure they don't get countered.
Well, Algeria has been seen in Group H as one of the weaker teams, I would say, right? Russia and Belgium, right? Along with us,
along with us.
Yes.
So it's prediction time, SJ. I think you need to give us what not to expect.
Well, here's the thing. I think Algeria, they're a very underrated team. I think a lot of people are saying Algeria was one of the teams that we can easily beat in Group H, but they're very underrated. They're very fast. They have great technique as well. But judging by what I saw in that Russia match, Korea, as long as they're confident with their offense and they just go forward and just all throughout 90 minutes and just don't pass back, I think they might be able to win this one. Now, granted, I don't want to jinx this. If they can play like they did in the second half of the Russia match,
they were good.
Right, I think they can win this one 2-1. So that's my prediction this time. 2-1, Korea wins this one. And of course, Belgium match. That doesn't guarantee them a spot in round of 16, of course. And we have to look forward to the Belgium match as well.
I think more people are nervous going into this one, especially because we're so confident, a little cocky. We're going to win, but let's not pop the champagne a little too early. They are a force to be reckoned with. So we'll just have to keep on cheering for them.
That's right. And even if they win, that doesn't guarantee them a spot as well. So something to look forward to, of course. Monday morning.
Monday morning, we're going to get into the office at least about an hour and a half before we normally do and try to catch the game a little bit, right?
That's right.
All right, thank you, SJ.
Always a pleasure. And of course, before I do say goodbye, let's take a look at the scores from today.
When the going gets tough, the tough get going.
And it's time to check on some of this week's entertainment news. And this week we have a lot of news coming from the K-pop scene. And Denny Hong joins us as always.
Good morning, Denny.
Good morning, Denny.
Good morning. Still a little tired from celebrations from the World Cup and stuff like that. But this past week, basically the majority of the stories that came out in the K-entertainment scene was geared towards the K-pop singers, JYJ, Big Bang, as well as 2NE1. So let's get a look at a couple of these stories from this past week. Girl group 2NE1 put its name up on US Fuse TV's 25 Best Albums of 2014 so far with its album Crush. Standout tracks Come Back Home and Gotta Be You from the album were introduced, and some other names on the list were Coldplay, Mariah Carey, and Michael Jackson. Group JYJ has signaled its return in July after a 3-year absence, and the teaser video, only one day after its release, recorded 130,000 hits worldwide. It was uploaded to the group's website with images of the members and a short but powerful message, building up excitement for the fans. Big Bang's Taeyang has made it into the main Billboard 200, putting himself on number 112. Not only that, he packed first place in the World album and, of course, the Heat Seekers album chart as well.
Nice song.
Hip-hop group GOT7 has released a video for its new song A in the Mark edition. The album is scheduled to go on sale next Monday, and teaser episodes for each member will be released one by one until then. With its fan showcase on Wednesday, the group will be making more appearances for its comeback. Singer Yoon Do-hyun met with Hollywood stars Mark Wahlberg and Nicola Peltz from the mega blockbuster Transformers just yesterday at the Hong Kong world premiere for the latest sequel in the series. Yoon conducted an interview with the two for all the fans in Korea about Transformers 4 and delivered the latest updates from the scene.
That's cool. Korea's representative rocker just meeting with the Wahlberg there.
With Marky Mark.
Marky Mark. That's right. You should do a featuring thing, right?
Exactly,
if
right?
Marky Mark does that still. Now, it seems that the World Cup fever has taken over the nation, and the street cheering has been phenomenal, and you have that for us.
Well, yes, when it comes to the World Cup season, not only the games, which are very exciting, but also the events before the games begin, the free concerts and all the performers that come out is definitely something to watch if you have the time and the energy to get up that early. So we're going to be looking at the street celebration cheering that happened in Gwanghwamun and Yeongdong-daero from this past game. Cheers ring out from the Red Devils Team Korea supporters across Gwanghwamun, and despite the early morning hours, cheering from the team knew no end. first stars to join in with the supporters in street cheering is group Transfiction, already an icon when it comes to the World Cup. They lit up the stage with their already popular team song, For Victory.
저희 트랜스픽션이 어떻게 보면 3번 연속으로 이렇게 월드컵 응원을 할 수 있게 돼서 너무 감회가 새롭고요. 대한민국 화이팅!
Yeah! Especially at the center of attention this day is a team from the ever-popular entertainment show Infinite Challenge. The members unveiled their own cheer songs and dances, adding to the fun.
오늘 꼭 우리 대한민국이 승리를 거두기를 바랍니다.
Dick Pungsu, an indie band that also took part in the Red Devils official cheerleading album, was also there, unleashing a powerful performance with their song Go Run, My Friend.
오늘이 응원전 첫날이잖아요. 그래서 이런 기념적인 날에 정말 우리가 이렇게 같이 할 수 있다는 게 얼마나 영광이고 또 축복이 아닌가. 대한민국 태극전사 화이팅!
And across town, Yeongdong-daedo Road, also considered a street cheering mecca, was also packed.
And mind you, this is like 3,
A whole
4
stream
in
of
the morning,
celebrities
right?
turned up at the site with their various performances, giving an extra boost to the World Cup spirit.
I wonder what the neighbors thought of all this.
They would have understood.
One of the groups that heated up the stage at this location was the quintet, Ladies Code.
되게 뜻깊은 날에 저희를 불러주셔서 너무 감사하고 진짜 너무 재밌었어요. 저희도 열기를 들릴 수 있었을지 모르겠지만 너무 좋았습니다. 태극전사 여러분, 멋져 멋져 머리부터 발끝까지 화이팅!
It's cute. Is that the
A
moon
stream
or
of
the sun?
stars descended on the venue, keeping the crowd entertained. But the final superstar the crowds waited on for was none other than Psy.
And that's the wake-up call for the neighbors.
With his appearance on stage, crowds went wild. Psy's explosive performance, almost like a personal concert, added to the festive scene and team spirit.
제가 서야 할 곳에서 제가 해야 할 일을 하고 있는 가수 싸입니다. 반갑습니다. 잠시 후에 있을 대한민국과 러시아의 경기 아낌없는 응원을 부탁드리겠고요. 지치면 지는 겁니다. 미치면 이기는 겁니다.
Psy traveled back to Korea specifically for this performance, despite his tight schedule in other countries with his new song, Hangover. A proven national cheerleading member, the singer put out everyone's World Cup favorites, such as Champion and We Are the One.
Wow. I'm surprised the crowd wasn't hungover. Wow.
Bringing together country as one, Korea's street cheering will continue on throughout the games to root for Team Korea.
So cheering with Psy and all these other singers would have added to the excitement. How about the next game with Algeria on Monday? Are there any singers having plans to come out to the cheering venues?
Of course there are. Every single game there will be. But when it comes to Algeria's game at 4 in the morning, Psy won't be there because he did come out specifically, despite his touring schedule, to show his support because he's been very active with supporting Team Korea for the past several World Cups. So he wanted to make sure he took time from his schedule to be here for that.
I wonder if the crowd knew that he was going to be on stage.
Yes, they did.
Oh, they did? Okay, so this was pre-planned. Everyone knew about it. It wasn't some surprise. But, I'll be honest with you. We were watching the World Cup. We were watching the Korea-Russia match from here.
Right in the studio.
No one beats Korea today's beauties. But the World Cup has a way of yielding its way for celebrity beauties and the World Cup beauties from just the civilian community.
When it comes to, there's always a few ladies that catch the attention of the public eye. And in this case, so far, Son Ye-jin, of course, because she took part in Infinite Challenge as well. She kind of, on that show, gave away from her more,
there she is.
I guess, cute image to more a comedic image. And she dressed this hanbok, which a lot of male fans were like, wow, it's very nice. So she is currently
Our Korea Today beauties are better.
I would agree.
No, we reject the idea. It's not true.
And when it comes to, of course, the next games, yes, they're going to be the same locations. The Gwanghwamun and Yeongundaero are both going to be the venues again for cheering. And so you're going to have like AOA and other groups performing at the Gwanghwamun area. Yeongundaero area. And then Gwanghwamun, you're going to have more popular rock bands performing there too. So get there early.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, we would so go if it
I was
weren't
10
for
years
the
younger,
show.
I think.
And if it weren't for the show.
I don't think I could stay through the whole night because you have to, as you mentioned, it's free, so you have to get there early.
But because this is also a 4 a.m. game, that means that probably 12 o'clock is when you should get there, or even earlier than that.
I would say
Even
a good
earlier,
8
I think.
o'clock or 9 o'clock is when people will start getting there.
Thing to note is that forget about going to the bathroom, right?
No.
Once you plant your butt there, you're
Pretty
seated
much.
there.
You don't want to lose your spots.
Exactly.
Right?
What do you do about that? Well, I don't want to know.
Just hold it together for as long as you can.
Well, I think with all the excitement, I think you can do that too. So everyone cheer on the team. And of course, you know, that'll be coming up Monday, 4 a.m. I'll be up all night watching it.
We'll definitely be up. Thank you, Denny, for this.
Thank you. No problem.
All right, let's now get a check on the K-pop weekly chart.
널 보낼 수 없는 나의 욕심이 집착이 되어 널 내 길을 다시 걸으면 돼 밤하늘의 별 취한 듯한 너 시원한 beer cheers 좋은 사람 곁에 많잖아 새로운 사랑 시작해도 괜찮아 정말 행복하길 바랄게 헤매이는 네가 눈에 밟
You know, I'm really excited about this area because just about a week ago, I somehow by chance happened to visit a restaurant in the Yeonnam-dong area, and I found it to be very secluded, at the same time eccentric and very secretive, in fact, like an undiscovered gem, right?
That's right, and they have some of the best authentic
Yes.
foreign cuisines,
Exactly,
right?
the food is awesome.
Matthew Chung will take us there today. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Is that where your restaurant is?
It's close, actually. It's in the Hongdae area, the Hongik University area, and that's probably what that area is most known for. It's, you know, it's loud, it's boisterous. It's, you know, it's a young university area. But Yeonnam-dong is a little different. It's quieter, and like you said, it's off to the side, and it's been bubbling for the past couple of years. You know, slowly percolating into, you know, something into what it is today, and that's a, you know, great area for some fantastic food. So why don't we check out the Yeonnam-dong area and see what makes it so special. Yeonnam-dong. This is an up-and-coming neighborhood. It's small, it's cute, and more to the point, it's got this great sort of global vibe to it. It's not Itaewon, but it's something else. It's its own thing. So let's check it out and see what makes this neighborhood so special. So here we've got Gramo Kitchen. And they pride themselves on using the freshest ingredients every day. Fresh ingredients come right in, and let's check it out.
Today's special ingredients are string bean sprouts and the herb dill, which is becoming more popular these days. So I'm going to cook something up using these two ingredients.
So our first dish is a whole squid. It's got saffron sauce and then a watermelon gazpacho, which to me just screams out summer. And saffron, it's got this great perfume to it. And here we have poele, which is a very traditional preparation of chicken. It's chicken that's been roasted in a pan and then basted with butter and its own juices. And here they've made it their own by adding ingredients like 청양고추. And then they take onion juices and they add it to the butter to glaze the carrots. And then you have a little sauteed spinach to finish off the dish. So we're at Saito right now, and here they do ramen. Now, that's different from Korean ramyeon. There are shops that are dedicated to making noodles, the stock, freshly on a daily basis. Here, what we have is the tteokgusang ramen. It's a shoyu-based, a soy sauce-based ramen, and it comes with all the standard toppings. You have the pork, the sprouts, and my favorite part is probably the egg. When you see that steam wafting out of that bowl, and it just smells incredible. Here we go. I am excited. Almost universally, a good broth, delicious noodles. These are all things that are soul satisfying. And here we have the karai ramen. It's the spicy ramen. This is the sort of spiciness I think is perfect for the summertime or wintertime, really anytime. Really starting to sweat a little bit. So the heat in this broth, it comes from the 청양고추, the spicy Korean green pepper, and that's where all the spiciness comes from. It doesn't take a lot, but really it does pack a potent punch. This is 청각의 바람, and here they sell all sorts of cute little things. It's little tchotchkes, sundries, and it has this kind of otherworldly vibe. A little bit of a Southeast Asian flair, but it's hard to put your finger on it. And so the owner of the shop, he's been all over the world, and he brings back things from places like Japan, India, Thailand, Indonesia, and he brings them back to the shop. So you have all these amazing little things from all around the world, handpicked. And right next door, we have Pinocchio Bookshop. And a neighborhood like this needs a good bookshop. What they've done, they've taken books from around the world, art books from Europe, you have comic books here, and it's a nice curated selection.
I think picture books are something everyone can read, from children to adults. And they come with their own unique character. Even for adults, if they look at them, I think they'll find a hidden attraction in them.
It's a place where you can really spend literally the whole day. So we're at Yeonnam Blues, and the name comes from the fact that it's got this jazzy atmosphere to it. And the food that they do here, they do a little bit of Italy, a little bit of Spain, so they've got that great Mediterranean thing going on. What I have right in front of me is an Italian zuppa di pesce. It's a seafood soup. One of the great things about Italian food is that all those aromas, you can tell exactly what's in there. I'm getting tomato, I'm getting the seafood, I'm getting that kick of the peppers in there. Nice juicy mussel. You can tell when a shrimp is well cooked when it just kind of pops right in your mouth. To make something like this at home, it's super simple. You start off, with the tomatoes and stock, and you create this nice broth, and then in goes the seafood, fresher the better. So, this kind of an exercise in simplicity. You have your broth and then your seafood, you got the mussels, you have web-foot octopus in there, little shrimp, little crab, and all those things are just gonna add a tremendous amount of flavor to your dish. So the next dish, this one comes from Spain, and it's cazuela. A lot of Spanish dishes, they'll be named after the vessel that they're cooked in. You have cazuela, you also have paella, which actually doesn't refer to the dish itself, but rather the pan that it's cooked in. You order a couple of glasses of wine, a couple of dishes like this, and things like this really add to the entire atmosphere. And it comes with bread as well, because one of the best parts of a dish like this, when doing something like this, take time, really construct that perfect bite.
I love how the music goes with the food too in this report, right?
And as always, Matthew brings the food to the studio.
And makes us really happy. All right, let's dig in. What
Go
are we
for it. Yeah, this is.
We have the two ramen.
This is a spicy one.
It's breakfast from around the world.
Spicy one.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Jinju is the master of spicy there. So, and I know you don't like spicy food. The noodles look good.
Yeah, so
we have some more soup there, though.
Yeah, so the broth itself, it's a shoyu base, but if you look at the top, there's like a black oil, and that's made by burning garlic. So yeah, it gives a nice smokiness to it.
This is spicy, but not too spicy in my opinion.
Yeah?
But you can try it.
If you like the Korean ramyeon, I think you might find it a little bland, this one. Maybe that would be...
This one is
Try
close
that.
to
Here.
ramen.
Go ahead, you
Korean
first.
ramen.
I want to try the shrimp over there.
Go for it. Yeah, that's the cazuela there
Ooh,
at the end.
I'm going to drop it.
It's hot.
It tastes like ramyeon.
It's spicy.
Like
It's got a kick.
Does it? Does it?
Oh.
Normally,
Whoa,
the Japanese style ramens, they're not spicy, right? They don't go for the spices, but this one is.
Yeah, so this one, it's not the broth that's spicy per se, but it's hit with a spicy oil at the end. So that's why it doesn't have that sort of sharp spiciness, but rather like a sort of like a rounder, warmer heat to it.
Not bad, though. And tell us about these dishes. This is what?
This is a zuppa de pêche, so it's a seafood soup. But they put an interesting twist on it by adding noodles at the bottom, and they've given it a spicy kick, you know, similar to Korea's meontang. Here
would you say it's fusion?
I would say I would definitely consider this a fusion dish. Just
You should
because,
try this. This is really good.
It
Try the
takes
cazuela.
Cazuela. I like the name. Very passionate. Okay, I'm going to pop one in your mouth. Well,
Oh, that, okay.
okay. Thank you so much for bringing all this food and taking us to Yeonnam-dong. It sounds like a special place.
Always a pleasure.
All right, that's all we have prepared for you on this Friday morning.
So my mouth is still full, so I'll just pop like this. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you on Monday morning at 7 a.m. But we do have
with
that
the
big game, right?
results, right, from the Algerian match.
Okay, have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Here, you have to try the cazuela.
Is it good?
It's good.